Hello and welcome to another segment of Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. Friends, in this segment, we bring those guests who influence our lives. This includes elected officials, policymakers, heads of major organizations, and other dignitaries. It is my sincere hope that the knowledge brought in by this guest will help our community. Today we have such guest, Sarah Anker. Sarah is a legislator of Suffolk County, District 6. Suffolk County District 6 includes town of Brookhaven and Brookhaven National Lab. Let's meet Sarah. Ms. Anker, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I mean, you are the first Suffolk legislator that we are interviewing today, and I wanted to congratulate you for winning the second term.
Thank you.
You got election first you got elected in a special election.
I did, yes.
So let's go with your background. What did you do before becoming a legislator?
Well, going all the way back, I was born on a military base. My dad was in the Navy. We moved to Florida when I was young, and I was raised in Central Florida. I moved to Long Island about 30 years ago, raised a family, three children, a 12, a 17, and a 21-year-old. My daughter attends Hunter College in the city. But as I raised my children, I was very involved with the school district, and I became very involved in the civic associations. And you go and you talk to people, and a lot of people and a lot of children don't know what a civic association is. Basically, it's a group that oversees the community and understands the issues and tries to resolve the problems. So I joined the board, and we worked on it's a wonderful project. It's called the Heritage Park in Mount Sinai. And it was a parcel that was supposed to be I think it was going to be a Home Depot. It was a sod farm. The civic became involved. We worked out a partnership with Suffolk County to purchase the land. The town of Brookhaven maintains the property, and the Heritage Trust purchased the end property and has a beautiful community center. And it has increased the value of the community greatly. And you drive by the park, and there's kids flying kites and running and playing, and it shows how important it is to stay involved in your community. And of course, being involved with that, you learn about government more and more. And it gave me the experience and understanding of what's involved in government and how it relates to the community and to the people. It has been a wonderful evolution of being from a stay-at-home mom to some extent. I worked in the corporate field in marketing and public relations, school districts, and now I'm in a government position, and you really have to have a very broad perspective. If you focus on one perspective, you're going to lose the ability to hopefully resolve problems and truly understand the issues. As I grew to understand the issues, I decided to run for public office because I thought I could do more on the government level. Prior to actually, I'll go back, being involved in the civic, I started a not-for-profit, Community Health and Environment Coalition, and it addressed the high breast cancer and cancer incidents in my area. New York State had declared it a breast cancer cluster, probably one of the highest in the states, if not the country. I became involved in environmental issues. I truly believe our environment affects our health directly. I became involved on many different boards, Senator Ken LaValle's Environmental Roundtable, Congressman Tim Bishop's Breast Cancer Advisory Board, Brookhaven National Lab Community Advisory Committee. And I've learned a lot, and with that knowledge, I have a better understanding of my area and how to help create a better place, and also take it in a good direction. So that's what I'm hoping to do as a legislator.
Wow, so you actually helping people is in your heart, basically. That's what you really like to do.
It is. I was raised that way. My my parents, my grandmother, who was an inspiration. She died of breast cancer 4 days before my daughter was born. And she made me understand that the time that you have is precious, and you have to make the best of each moment. So there's a strong philosophical feeling I have towards the gifts that she gave me, and understanding we must act. You can think about things, you can research and try to understand, but you have to do. And I consider myself a doer. I get out there and I try to get things done, and I'm hoping to do that and to continue to do that. So yeah.
That's very good, very
Thank
good.
you.
Now let's define your district, legislative district. You are the legislator for 6th district.
For
in
the
Suffolk
6th
County.
district,
so
right.
Let's define the areas.
Right.
There.
The area is from Mount Sinai to Wading River, so I have the entire North Shore within that area, and then it dips down to Ridge, Coram, Middle Island, and a little bit of Port Jeff Station. It encompasses about 50,000 people there, and Suffolk County has 1.5 million people. So it's a very large district, and it's a large county, and we have and it associates, of course, that's Brookhaven town, which is a large town.
Right.
So there's a lot of diversity, and it's very challenging to try to maintain a balance with different cultures, different ideas, but you have to focus on what is most important for everyone. And what I feel at this point in my district, basically it's the economy, it's jobs, it's trying to keep our area fiscally stable. And when I entered the legislature 2 years ago, it was challenging, and it will continue to be challenging with the fiscal issues the county has.
We'll go over that a little later. What was your first day of legislator when you entered in the legislative building, or and you sat on your chair?
Oh my goodness, it was incredibly exciting. You have to have an optimistic perspective when you enter into a challenging arena, and that's what it felt like. I was fortunate enough to have experienced the interaction between community and government by being involved, speaking in front of the legislature, as a civic member, or working with the organization Community Health and Environment Coalition, and addressing the issues. So I was familiar with the landscape to some extent, but it is intimidating at first until you get to know the landscape, the people, and the issues. It was sort of hit the ground running, or sink or swim. I don't know how you want to name that, but I entered through a special election, and I was working. Formerly, I was working as the director of the energy department for the town of Brookhaven. It was a brand new department. I was basically helped initiate the program. It was the Green Homes Go Solar program.
Interesting.
$4.5 million federal grant to help encourage Brookhaven residents to focus on energy efficiency and solar energy. And it was wonderful. It was great. Unfortunately, I had to leave that position because I wanted to be a full-time legislator and really focus my attention on what needed to be done in the county. And I did, and it was great. And I had wonderful mentors. Bill Lindsay, my presiding officer. He was so helpful and providing an understanding of how the dynamics work within government. You have your union, you have community, you have the departments, you have the county exec. At the time I entered, Steve Levy was still the county exec, and that was very challenging. So now we have a new county exec, Steve Alone. We work great together, and hopefully we can continue to move forward with challenges, of course, to deal with.
Well, challenges are going to be there. You just have to work on it, and you have to make it happen.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line, right? So that's how your mantra is. Okay, so it should be.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So like in legislator, who was really like first time when you decide to run for it, right? I'm sure that you must have talked to people like Richard Schaefer or somebody like that,
Right,
right? I mean,
right.
so who encouraged you, really?
Oh, well, I'll tell you that who placed the seed in my mind. Let me tell you the story. And I was at a fundraising event. Marcia Lawfer. She was the Democratic chairwoman for Brookhaven.
Yes,
and
yes.
she had a nice, beautiful event. And after the event, she came running up to me as I was leaving, and she goes, "Sarah, would you run for public office? Would you consider?"
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't even think about that prior. And I said, well, you know, I have to help my friend. She's running for town council. I've already committed my time. But thank you for asking me.
Right,
and I know there's programs, you know, to encourage people, women, minorities, to run for public office. Kirsten Gillibrand, she has a program, Off the Sidelines, encouraging women from every political, every cultural area to get involved in government. It is so vital because, again, when you have one type of perspective, you lose the entire understanding of the issue. It's like having a jewel, and the more you turn it, the more you see the effect and the flaws. But yeah, Marcia had asked me probably about 8 years ago.
8 years ago?
8 years ago, and I had, you know, my children were much smaller.
Okay.
I became involved in politics and in government. I worked again at the town of Brookhaven, running their energy department. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to help, whether it's from the outside of being a volunteer or being an elected official. And I take that very seriously. I feel it's a great honor. You know, I think having been raised on a military base within a military family, you truly appreciate your part and your role in government. And I hope I can continue to do that. I have so many projects I'm working on. I'm a very big multitasker. So I have a wonderful staff, and hopefully we can see a real improvement in many of these issues that we're dealing with today.
Actually, you know, I don't know whether you're aware or not, but a couple of years ago I started a solar energy company, and that was based on SIGS technology. But you know, unfortunately, manufacturing is really doesn't work here. I mean, meaning that the cost and all that, and then Chinese are really taking over our market, and therefore we could not manufacture. You know.
Oh, it's a shame. That's a true shame, because when I was working with the town trying to find American-made solar panels, they were not available. The grant specifically asked for that, and again, if we can work together and try to figure out how we can resolve that challenge, we need to keep the jobs local. We need to keep them here. And I know there's, you know, Suffolk County IDA, Anthony Manette is working very hard to try to create jobs within the county. I recently passed a resolution, supported a resolution, and it recently passed in the county legislature to create a committee. Now this is, it's called the Jobs Initiative.
Okay.
And it's the Jobs Opportunity Board. Okay. And what we're going to do is galvanize the energy and the understanding of what it takes to keep our young people on Long Island and help them find jobs. Very important. Yeah, it is. Very important. Long Island, it's hard enough to find affordable housing, much less a job. So the Jobs Initiative will bring together the educational institutions of higher education from Suffolk County, business associations who represent many businesses on Long Island, technology organizations, and the pieces and the components of Suffolk County, the Department of Labor, the IDA, Industrial Development Agency, and the County Exec's Office, to brainstorm about how we can help centralize the information so when a student graduates from a college, they'll know where to go to look for either an internship or a mentorship, which will hopefully lead to a job here on Long Island. So we're working on that as far as getting the meeting together, I'm hoping there'll be so many wonderful ideas that will be created from this meeting of the minds of people who really understand the issues. Another issue related to the Jobs Opportunity Board is the ability to provide affordable housing for our students and our young professionals. I've been reaching out to many individuals and businesses and associations who are very interested in providing a source of affordable housing for our young professionals. You know, you have PRCs, planned retirement communities.
Right.
Why can't we have something specifically for our youth? You know, they're struggling. They've got you know, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans to pay off. They need to find a place to come to get a job, to find a place to live, and I feel it's our job as government elect. We need to do more, and it's just one of the many projects I'm working on. So,
that's very good. You know, I want to congratulate you, and I hope you know that something good comes out, because the ideas are there, but implementing the idea is more important, and that's where you come in, really. You know, because see, we people have ideas, but you know, individually they cannot really accomplish anything. It has to have a support of people like you, okay, who are there.
Yes, and again, communication, networking, it's vital. You know, you can have all the most valuable ideas in the world, but if you're not able to share them and create,
it doesn't mean anything.
It's like
doesn't mean anything.
it's like creating an engine. You have the different parts, and once you get those gears connected, that engine will move. That engine will work. And again, I'm hoping to do that more so with Suffolk County. And you know, you mentioned about the railroad, Long Island Railroad, and the hub project in Ronkonkoma, White-Anch. We need to plan ahead for the future, and those types of projects will provide a focus for housing, business, transportation, that we can hopefully facilitate the ability that to move it forward. And again, create that energy, that excitement, that this is the place to go. And also it will allow for environmental preservation. You know, we have all the activity in one area seems to work best. It's I guess it's a form of smart growth. Where you can
growth initiative, We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. We are having a wonderful conversation with Suffolk County Legislator Sarah Anker. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's, you know, I want to really expand on LIRR, Long Island Railroad Project, which, you know, that's where I met you actually, and that's where first I met you. You were there, and, you know, the Helena Williams, president of Long Island Railroad, announced a major track expansion project, which is going to create a huge economic opportunities in Suffolk and Nassau County. And you know, as far as I know, there's a huge minority and women-owned businesses participation required by the government, you know, which is about 20%, and it's, you know, turns into, the way I heard, is about $80 million, including Suffolk and Nassau County, which is really a music to my ears, because, you know, we are also a minority-owned firm, and our viewers are also all from South Asia. Right, so let's focus on that. You know, how were you involved in this project, or what can you tell us more about this project?
Well, I remember when I was working at the town of Brookhaven, it was very high on the priority list for the supervisor. That was Mark Lesko at the time, and he put a lot of energy, and he continues as running Accelerate Long Island. So I did hear a lot, and I got to know the project, and it's invaluable to Brookhaven. It will give the energy, it will give the focus that we need to create jobs, to create a place where people will be successful successful. I think you heard of a divide and conquer kind of thing. We need to come together. We need to unite and support. The more we can do that, location-wise, physically, and also include those important components of transportation, work and business and homes, I know we will function better. I mean, you're talking, you mentioned different other cultures who focus the business and transportation home within one area. It's very successful. You can save money, you can save time, you can save effort, more efficient, more effective. It's a win-win project for everybody.
Well, when you say divide and conquer, don't we know this British ruled us?
Yes.
Just with that policy, divide and rule for like almost more than 250 years, something like that.
And that's why the people that have the ideas need to unite. And you see that with the Ronkonkoma project. You see elements of government, community, business, coming together and really focusing on how can we get this to work. And also I think what's important, you're talking about funding, they can share funding. It overlaps and it intertwines, and it will, I think, provide a wonderful support for Long Island's economy.
So let me ask you this question, that if any of the viewers have something to offer to the Long Island Railroad track expansion project, where they're going to need all kind of people actually, engineers, construction, you name it, and they're going to need it, right? Can they contact your office where they can give a more guidance that who to approach, where do they start?
Right. Well, they can contact my office. I'm, the county part of that, but I believe that's state. It's the Department of Transportation. I believe they provide the forms and documents as far as applying for the jobs and the funding. But feel free, contact my office. We will direct them.
They can guide. Your people can guide from how to go there.
Absolutely. Right. When I meet people, whether I'm at an event or I see them at the supermarket or wherever I am, they may not be from my area, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And the issue they have may not relate to something I can do on a county level, but it doesn't matter. If you're an elected official, it's your job to help people. Period. Again, that's where part of that civic philosophy comes in. You connect them to where they need to go, and then hopefully, good things will happen. And it's sort of like karma; it will come right back to you. So and it works very well for me. So far so good. But I really enjoy seeing people with having successful outcomes, because again, that's what it's about. It just creates such a wonderful community lift.
Now, you were involved in education a lot, right? Because in the civic association and a lot of and we had here a guest a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Beerworth. He is the superintendent of Herrick School District, and the way we talked about is that in our schools, whatever we teach. Now, do you tell me if you agree or not? We don't teach our children the life lessons, quote unquote life lessons. We teach everything else but no life lesson, because when the kid comes out, they don't know even how to buy a ticket from railroad, something like that.
Yes, we're teaching for the test, to the test. I forget the phrase, but it's all about a test,
right?
And it creates stress for the children, for the administration, for the teachers, and for the parents. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with that idea. You're right, though. What about understanding financial abilities, writing a check, balancing your budget? We don't know. Volunteering for your community, understanding about other cultures or other faiths.
Right.
That's all part of our way of living, and you're absolutely right. Kids now, I'm assuming, will go online, Google it, find out more about outside things that they don't get the understanding through school. But we need to do more. We definitely need to do more. The school district, I was on Mount Sinai School Board.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was involved in the Children's Parent-Teacher Organization, which is like the PTA in my school district. So I was able to see so many sides of education. I'm now chair of the Education Committee for the county, which gives me the ability to oversee even more so with the on a county level. And that's where that Jobs Opportunity Board comes in, and understanding we need to get all those stakeholders together so we can really brainstorm and come up with some good ideas. The state, the state is based on schools are based on state jurisdiction. So the county can't get involved to any great extent by telling schools, giving them direction. It has to come from state. There is another resolution that I introduced, and it directed Suffolk County Police to work on a safety system for the schools with the unfortunate incident at Sandy Hook. Now, this initiative is the SAVE hotline, School Active Violence Emergency hotline. And basically it provides almost a panic button system for school districts. When the unfortunate incident at Sandy Hook happened, I gathered my staff in my office and I said we have to do something more. One of my staff members suggested, well, what about a panic button? And in my head I thought, oh, I'm sure school districts already have a panic button. Banks have them, stores have them. I called the school superintendent from my school district in Mount Sinai, Enrico Crescetti, and he said, no, we don't have a panic button. So I called the police department, which is Suffolk County's jurisdiction, and I basically have been working with them to create a direct line for any type of emergency situation. Now that process has been created. We will be instituting it within 2 to 3 weeks. It is an option for schools. Again, the county has no jurisdiction for schools, but it's a very affordable option. The price of a landline and a phone.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. At this point, again, it could evolve into something a little bit more detailed, but that is an example of having minds think and coming up with options and ways to work out problems. So schools are very important to me with my 3 children. It's been wonderful, being part of their education, upbringing. We have some major issues as far as, of course, the cost. The school districts create the highest taxes for our constituents, and we need to do more. I worked as a public relations director for the Longwood School District and for West Islip, 2 of the largest school districts here on Long Island. And shared services, we can do more of that. We have to work again with the teachers and understanding what are their needs and how can we help them create more of a creative way of teaching. They're stressed out. They have a lot going on with meeting the mandates. There are so many mandates, unfunded mandates. So again, there's all kinds of issues that we can tackle, I believe, on a county level, and I will continue to pursue those.
So in schools, recently the governor has teachers evaluation. They want to make sure that the teacher who's qualified to educate children. Are you in favor of teachers evaluation? Or
well, I think we do need to have a standard. We need to have an understanding of where our teachers are as far as how they can continue to teach our kids in a productive way. If you have a teacher, and you can even call them just an individual, no matter where you are, whether it's a teacher or someone in a business or someone in government, and that person is not pulling their weight, that person is falling behind, we need to have a way to identify that person. So again, I think it's important that we do have a type of evaluation in a way that will lift the school system. But again, you have to identify the weights that are pulling the education component down, and it is a way that I guess you can identify those teachers and hopefully find that teacher that may need some help and give them the encouragement or the help that they need to rise up to the standard that we all expect. And I got to tell you, New York schools, and especially Long Island schools, are the top in the country.
They are. They are.
And there's there's very high expectations. So,
yep.
And we need to be there to support. Yep.
So let me ask you this question. That my daughter, she went through Port Washington school, and many times, I ask her, like, after the test is over and she got, let's say, A. So I said, why didn't you get A plus?
Yes.
And why did other person get A plus? Is that person is better than you? Oh no, she had a easy teacher.
Okay.
That was her comments, and that comment we hear from our children many times. There is an easy teacher and there is a difficult, hard teacher.
Okay.
So do you think that there has to be a standard testing or standard grading rather? Because some teachers are so easy, even if you have like partial is right, they will give you full credit. Some teachers will say, even if partial right, they will give you no credit.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, our children are the one who's suffering really, because good children also suffer and then bad children also suffer.
And you hear that also in college.
Right.
The kids gravitate, they find out who's the fun teacher, the easier teacher, they gravitate.
Yes.
But it also happens in our school, in our elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools.
Right, yeah.
I would hope the administrations have the ability to identify that, and maybe that's something we can work on a county level, and working with the state, and creating maybe some standards, or to help elevate their knowledge about what works and what doesn't. A lot of the school districts, like the fire districts, are very they like to keep things within their district. They like to have the control. They like to have the freedom to kind of move their district in a direction, in a good direction that they feel is adequate. And but I think, again, if we can share ideas, it will make all the school districts better. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of being the chair of the education committee for the county. They have a superintendent's meeting, I think it's monthly or every other month, and they come together and they discuss some of the problems. There's problems throughout Suffolk County, and they're all similar. And one of them, of course, is the drug addiction problem.
Right.
That's another issue I'm working on with the county and the police department. There's a saying that my father would say in the Navy, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if you let the kids who may need more help fall through, it's not going to help our communities.
Right, exactly.
So there needs to be a form of understanding of, there's a standard. Some kids will excel more so, and some kids need more help. We need to realize that we're not all the same type of person. And that's when, getting back to your word, the creative way of education needs to be included, not just testing. I'm not a good test taker. I was, in fact, when I was younger, I was painfully shy. I was very shy, but I evolved and I learned to overcome some of my fears, whether it's public speaking or just doing, trying to accomplish my goals. I learned how to work through the process, and in my philosophy is respectfully, but persistently. And if we can, make processes better, we need to do that. And again, that's that doer part. Kids need to understand that too. And we can teach kids a lot of things in their mind. We have Brookhaven National Lab, a wonderful science facility, Cold Spring Harbor, right here, right in our backyards. So much wonderful learning institutions, Stony Brook. I have, to help kids become part of the higher understanding of learning, the concepts. But I think, yes, they do spend a lot of time focusing on a small amount of information for a test.
Right.
Where that's the left side of your mind. We need to work on the right side, the creative part, because we're going to find, I feel, that you have to have a balance to be successful. Right, exactly. So, yeah.
Now let's talk about Brookhaven National Lab. Like, you are also involved with the lab heavily.
Yes.
And we have a lot of viewers, who are scientists over there at the lab.
Yes.
So tell us something which is exciting.
Well, let's see. I met with Ken White. Ken White is the education director for Brookhaven National Lab.
Okay.
I've met Ken when I joined the BNL's CAC, Community Advisory Committee, probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I had concerns, of course, about the environment, the leaks in the water, the radioactive issues. Since that time, Brookhaven National Lab has spent a lot of funding cleaning it up. And I have to say, I love science. Science is one of my favorite subjects. I am very proud that Brookhaven Lab is there. They were created for peacetime science and understanding what we can do to stay on top of what's out there in science, but use it for a productive, peaceful extent. Brookhaven National Lab is one of the most important components of the country in excelling our students to where they need to be. The world is competitive. If we don't support these high level of science facilities, we're going to fall behind the other countries. You know, China, I know, has put a lot of focus on technology.
Right.
And of course, as chair, that's another chair I work within the county of information technology.
Yes.
This is vital. It is vital that we continue to support science programs. I have a wonderful project I'm working on in Shoreham. It's called the Tesla Museum, Nikola Tesla. And this wonderful organization, Friends of Nikola Tesla, received funding. Over $1 million through crowdfunding to purchase his original laboratory. So I'm working with them to try to find more funding and more support to create a beautiful museum. And working with Brookhaven National Lab, which is located a short distance away, we need to take advantage of Suffolk County's tourism. I think we get I want to say $2 billion in tourist money from people going to Long Island, going to Suffolk County. If we can encourage people to enjoy life as they go visit the vineyards, they go to visit our beaches, our parks, and include a component of science, of learning. It will help us as a society. I was previously on the board of the Vanderbilt Museum, and they have a beautiful planetarium. If anyone hasn't seen it, please go to Centerport and visit. But the county was about to close their doors about 4 years ago, and it would mothball it. We don't need it. It's not important. I was not a legislator at the time. I was on the board, and we had to really fight to keep those doors open.
Interesting.
Presently, the museum is now self-sustaining, the operating costs. They still have some capital projects they're working on, which the county helps support. But again, it's so important that we include the idea of trying to create a stable government body, Suffolk County, and also with the idea that education will provide the facilitation of that stability. If we don't educate our kids, the future of our county properly, they're not going to have the opportunities. But I know for a fact we have some of the top. We have the most highest educational institutions for learning in the country right here in our backyards.
And we should use it.
We have to connect the dots. Yes.
I think connecting dot is more important, really. So that's where you can help.
I'm trying.
Obviously.
Yes, and thank you again for having me on the show. I think you also provide that ability because you create the awareness, and hopefully your viewers will understand that there's opportunity around. And you can't be afraid to ask. If you have a question, and I think that's what I notice constituents and people that I meet, they're intimidated by government officials, and they shouldn't be. We're here. We work for them. We work for you, and we're here to provide that those services that you need.
Very important. Very important. And that was very nice thought from you. I tell you right now, because people should not be afraid to contact No.
No.
Now, what is your final message to the community?
Oh boy, I don't know. I think I expressed a lot of hopefully interesting ideas that people will look into.
Right.
The final message. The final message is there is always hope. There is always hope. The county has a huge fiscal crisis right now, and I ask the constituents and the people of Suffolk County to be patient. I am disappointed at the amount of bonding. There's a lot of fiscal concern right now. I wish I could have been. Maybe I wish I had been part of the original ideas where we need to understand that. The future is just as important as the present.
Absolutely.
And we must learn from the past. So in learning that, we have to stop bonding. We have to just pull the reins back, slow it down a little until we get onto a financial fiscal foundation, and then get ready and move forward. But with that in mind, we can't be afraid to invest. Right. Investment into the future is vital, as in the Ronkonkoma Hub project, as in education projects that we have. And again, public-private partnership. Where is the money right now? Most of the money right now in our economy is in private institutions. Let's work with them. I feel they have a personal obligation to help the communities around them, because those communities provide the workers and the support for their businesses. Right. So I hope the government officials can help connect the dots and again create that stability that we desperately need.
Well, you have great ideas, and
Thank
I'm
you.
pretty sure that you're going to work with your heart and soul. I have no doubt about it. Thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, you can write an email to me at rajmitv@gmail.com. That's again rajmitv@gmail.com. You can also view our prior shows on YouTube at youtube.com/Infosys International. Again, that's youtube.com/Infosys International. Until next week, have a great week. Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.